grab a drink, grab a snack. It's gonna be a long video. I've got my matcha. Today we're gonna talk about my fall TBR. I apologize if you see my hair blowing or hear the fan in the background. It's 100 degrees and I'm wearing a fall sweater to film this video. I don't know what I'm thinking and why I have such a large TBR, but I'm a mood reader and I love having options, but I have them kind of broken up into categories. We have like romance, horror, cozy, like witchy, cottagecore, YA fantasy, and thrillers. So yeah, let's get into this. I'm gonna try not to say I'm excited for all of these books. Just know that these are all on my radar. A lot of them I've just recently picked up. I have no plans to read all of these books. I am the ultimate mood reader. Just want to show you the option. I emptied out these 2 shelves because these are going to take up 2 shelves. That's how many books I have. I am not one to do things in halves, so you're getting a exhaustive list. And I know that I'll be adding more to this list as I go. Let's start with the ones that I'm currently reading right now. The first one is a library book, Can't Look Away. This is the author of Too Good to Be True, which was a domestic thriller that I read last year. It was a very run-of-the-mill domestic thriller, but it was still really, really good. So I'm excited about this. It feels like a little bit like a stalker, I want your life kind of story. Part love story, part domestic suspense. So Can't Look Away. And I have a hard time saying this author, but Carola Levering. I'm gonna need to go faster because this is gonna take me forever. Obviously, I'm reading Love on the Brain by Ali Hazelwood, one of my favorite authors, my most anticipated release. I'm loving this book so far. And if you love funny rom-coms and smart women, you need to read this, but also read all of her other stuff. And I also got Love in the Time of Serial Killers. I guess her neighbor moves in next door and she thinks he's a serial killer and it's a love story. So it seems really funny. It's a romantic comedy. I love the cover. And I've seen so many people talking about this, so I'm really excited to read it. Look how cute they look together. The next one is The Very Secret Society of Irregular Witches. I won't go into too much of these. I talked about in my last video. So this is kind of like a cottagecore romance, found family. This feels like a true cozy hug of a book. And then Part of Your World by Abby Jimenez. Obviously, I'm still reading this. I have been so busy this week. I haven't gotten to much of my books. Back to school time is really busy for us, so I haven't had time to read much. But those are the 5 that I'm like, right now I need to read right now. The next category is romance, and I have 5, I believe, that are solely romance, and I'm really, really excited for them. So the first book is In the Weeds by B.K. Borison. Let me tell you, you need to pick up this series of romance novels. The first book is Love Light Farms. It is a holiday romance. If I could describe serotonin in a book, it would be Love Light Farms. So swoony, so wonderful. All takes place at a Christmas tree farm, and this follows her friend who works with her at the Christmas tree farm. He is like the ultimate cinnamon roll, and this follows his love story and one of the girls from the previous book. And then there's also the third book that just came out. The first book made me so happy, and I know because I love every character in this story. It's just going to be such a comforting, loving, swoony read because I already love the main character, and it's just going to be so, so good. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited. Next book, everybody's talking about it, and that's The Dead Romantics by Ashley Poston. At first, I wasn't going to pick this up because I know it deals with grief, and that is a hard subject for me, but I'm really excited because everybody who's reading it, all of my friends, they've all loved it. Oh my gosh, Ali Hazelwood blurbed this one, and Love in the Time of Serial Killers. That is so funny. This follows a girl who goes back, and I think her family owns a funeral home, and she can see ghosts, and I guess maybe someone she works with ends up being a ghost. It's a ghost love story, so it seemed a little supernatural. It says romance is dead, but this isn't what she had in mind. So I'm excited for like a fresh take on a romance story. But this cover is just so cute. I love it so much. The colors are just my vibe. I love it so much. The next one, I'm so excited because it is written by my favorite narrator of all time. Let me pull the receipt out of that. And that is Thank You for Listening by Julia Whelan. You cannot get better than Julia Whelan talking about audiobooks, and it's also a romance. I know everybody loves her audiobooks, but Julia Whelan made me fall in love with listening to audiobooks and to read one of her love stories, and it's based around audiobooks, and that is my main form of consuming books these days because I'm so busy. I'm going to listen to this, obviously read by her. I know it's going to be magical. Like, I just know it. I just know it. The next book has the prettiest cover that I've ever seen, and it is called The Magic of Lemon Drop Pie by Rachel Linden. This one just looks like kind of, there's a little bit of magical realism, and it's about this baker who there's some magic in the pies. I don't know much more about it. It says an uplifting novel about a heartbroken young pie maker who is granted a magical second chance to live the life she did not choose. So it's part mystery, part romance, part magic. This cover, like, look at, there's like these adorable little pies on there. There's lemons. I saw someone raving about this on Bookstagram yesterday, and I'm just ready to pick it up. I didn't read her first book, or I'm sure she probably has other books too, but I haven't read anything by this author, and honestly, the cover just caught me. I just have a feeling it's going to be so good. And the last, like, fully romance book is Funny Feelings by Tara DeWitt. This is everywhere. This is a love story based off of comedy. I believe she's a stand-up comedian, or she's wanting to become a stand-up comedian. Looks like it's fake dating. It says Farley Jones is being forced to date Meyer Harrigan, the man she has come to love, in order to make all of her stand-up dreams come true. My husband is big into stand-up comedy, and I'm kind of just excited about this because it kind of reminds me of my husband. And when I tell you, I have seen rave, like, glowing 5-star reviews, just like with In the Weeds and Love Light Farms. These are indie published authors that are getting so much love right now, and she just came out with 2 new books. I think one just published and the other one she just released her new cover for, and I am all about this indie published rom-coms. And like, look at the cover. If this does not scream fall, like, what would? Like, I'm so in love with this cover, and I know that everybody's been loving it. Next section is fairy tales, just, I don't know, witchy, cozy fall vibes. So the next book is a sequel, and I read the first book recently. Half a Soul was so good. This is the sequel. It's part of the Regency fairy tale series, and there's another one that just came out called Long Shadow, and this one says Regency housemaid Euphemia Reeves has acquired a fairy godfather. Unfortunately, he has no idea what he's doing. I'm so excited about this. This is an enchanting fairy tale set in Olivia Atwater's magical version of Regency England. 10,000 Stitches is a delightful romantic romp with a Cinderella twist and heaps of heart. So the first one was so good and definitely gave me Bridgerton, but set in a fairy tale vibes. And this one sounds just as good. I don't even want to read like the synopsis. I just know that if it's Cinderella, there's just such a twist on romance set in the Regency era, because there's fairy tales. There's there was elves in the last book. There was, you know, all these different fairy tale creatures, and there was another world, but then it was like our world too. It was so good. So read Half a Soul first and then pick up this one, but this one I'm so excited for. And the audiobooks are really good for this one too. The next one is everybody's favorite new book right now, and that is Legends and Lattes. And someone said that if you want the perfect, like, low stakes fantasy book that like literally will not stress you out but makes you feel so cozy, because it's set in a coffee shop with this orc. Apparently where she moves into this small little fantasy town, they've never heard of coffee, and they're like, what is this magic substance of coffee? It seems like it's just like this sweet little story about this orc who wants to open up a coffee shop, and it's just like her reinventing herself and living out her little dream of having a coffee shop. And there's like a little romance. I hope that more cozy fantasy like this starts to get published, because cozy fantasy is the perfect recipe for fall. Next one is a historical fiction with witches, and that is The Once and Future Witches by Alex E. Harrow. I've been wanting to read something by this author, and I started reading her short story collection, but it was too heavy on grief for me. So I decided, even though I loved her writing, I decided to put that one down, and I want to pick up this one. And this one is historical fiction based on, you know, the Salem witch trials, I believe. Yeah, they're burning witches at the stake. It's about these sisters and, you know, the movement of suffragists, different things that women were dealing with back then. It says, a glorious tale that will sweep you away. And I've heard such great things about this book. People rave about this book. And if you like more of a slow moving historical fantasy, then you're going to like this. And I love historical fantasy that's kind of like very character driven, especially about witches. I'm sold. And if I love this one, I'm going to pick up 10,000 Doors of January, which I've heard excellent things about as well. So I'm very excited about this. It's a bit of a chunker, but it just looks so beautiful and sounds so beautiful. The next book is like cottagecore perfection. I saw someone say that it reminded them of Practical Magic, and I love Practical Magic with Sandra Bullock. Garden Spells by Sarah Addison Allen. And this just sounds magical. This just sounds like Practical Magic. Sisters in a small town. Let me just read this little top part. In a garden surrounded by a tall fence, tucked away behind a small house in the smallest of towns, is an apple tree rumored to bear a special sort of fruit. In this illuminous debut novel, Sarah Addison Allen tells the story of that enchanted tree and the extraordinary people who tend it. And it's about these women, the Waverleys, and basically I think they cook and make magical dishes, and there's like heartbreak and romance and just this family saga. And I know there's a couple of books after this, like Frost Spell is the second book, I think. And I am just so excited about this. I've been wanting to read it for ages. And I kind of want to do this as a buddy read. So if anybody is interested in buddy reading this with me, let me know down in the comments or send me a DM on Instagram and we can buddy read this together. Oh my gosh. And like, look at, like, there's not a lot of text on this. It's just going to go by so fast. I wonder if the audiobook is good for this. This is Wild is the Witch by Rachel Griffin. She's the author of Nature of Witches, which I wanted to get last year and I didn't end up getting, but it has the pretty, both of them have the prettiest hardcovers. Can you even? And the Nature of Witches is just as pretty on the inside, so I'll probably need to get that. And that would be a perfect book for fall as well. It's like a fantasy romance. It says, what is the one thing Pike Adler would hate more than anything else? The answer slams into my mind instantly. A spell so cruel it can only be called a curse. A curse to turn him into a witch, to make him become the very thing he hates. And she like wants to put this curse on this boy, and then she ends up cursing everybody or something. I think it's going to be really, really good. So this cover though, can we just talk about all of the witchy books? I'm obsessed. This one, my friend Olivia from Olivia Reads a Latte raves about, and I haven't read it yet, and I want to because the second book came out, and this is The Ravens, and it's supposed to be like dark academia. It's a young adult kind of fantasy witchy magical book. And the little tagline says, these sorority girls are real witches. It looks like there's these witches at Westerly College Savannah, Georgia campus, and this girl doesn't know she's a witch, but then she comes across these girls that are witches, and it's about their little coven. If this gives me what I'm wanting, like the vibes are kind of like Gossip Girl, academia, but make it like witchy. Oh, I think this could be a winner. And Olivia has been raving about this book. And I think The Monarchs is the second book, and it is the prettiest color. And I have a thing for monarch butterflies. We're definitely going to be reading this in fall so I can get to the second book. Okay, so that was all of my cottagecore witchy fantasy books. Now we're going to get into just YA fantasy. For some reason, fall is my YA fantasy time, and then winter is more like adult fantasy. So I'm definitely going to be picking up like Game of Thrones in winter, and I have all of these adult fantasies here, but that's going to be winter. Sorry if you can hear my dog. She's like hacking up a lung right now. I don't know what's happening. But anyways, we're going to do YA fantasy right now. And the first book is by one of my favorite YA fantasy authors, and that's Blade of Secrets. Trisha Levenseller, she wrote Daughter of the Pirate King and so many other ones. Oh my gosh. I'm trying to think of what else she's written. Why is this upside down? Oh my gosh, this is upside down. Oh my gosh, why can't I think of the other books that she's written? Warrior of the Wild, and The Shadows Between Us, Daughter of the Pirate Queen, Daughter of the Siren Queen. I loved all of those books. Let me switch this one around. But this one is actually, I think, a duology. Ooh, I didn't even know. Look at the naked hardcover. I love. So I believe this is about a blacksmith that she ends up making a sword for someone she shouldn't have made a sword for, and she ends up needing to go get the sword back and save the world or something, save the nation. I want you to treat my sword as though it is the weapon you've been practicing for your entire life. It is to be of immense power, something that can defeat many opponents at a time, something that could bring a nation to their knees. She forges, like, I guess this blade, and she has to go retrieve it or something. This one just sounds like it's going to be so fast and so fun. I love fun YA fantasy. So if you're looking for an author that feels cozy, Trisha Levenseller, like, you know these are going to end well. You know these are going to be good. Books just feel so comforting to me. She's one of my favorite YA fantasy authors for when I just need like a cozy good time in a book. Trisha Levenseller. So I'm definitely excited to read this. And then I believe the second one, Master of Irons, just came out, and it's a beautiful blue cover. So I'm going to grab that one. I saw it at Target the other day and I almost grabbed it, but I need to read this one first. Okay. Did anybody read the Remnant Chronicles back in the day? The first one was The Kiss of Deception. That was one of my favorite YA fantasy series, and I want to reread that. This is a spin-off series, and this is The Dance of Thieves. I believe this takes place after, and I don't think you need to read the Remnant Chronicles, because I've seen people reading this and not have read the other books, and they've loved it. This is like an enemies to lovers fantasy romance. It's kind of big. Oh my gosh, the excitement I have for a new Mary E. Pearson book. 500 pages, so it's kind of chunky. And the second book is beautiful. It's like Vow of Thieves, and it's this bright red, beautiful cover. It kind of looks like this, but it's bright red. And I'm here for the aesthetic of this, and people have been talking about it lately, and I forgot that she came out with a new series, and I just loved the Remnant Chronicles. So before you read this, go read the Remnant Chronicles. The Kiss of Deception is the first one. You will love that series. If you like fantasy romance, you love YA fantasy, you will love the Remnant Chronicles. Ooh, a stunning new adventure set in the kingdoms of the Remnant. A brilliant fantasy with a bold, beating heart. Mary E. Pearson is a fearless storyteller. I'm still trying to catch my breath from this book. I love fantasy romance, and I love this author. I'm so excited for this one. Didn't I say I wasn't going to say I'm so excited for this? All right. For my Sarah J. Maas girlies, this book has been compared to her. I've seen glowing reviews for this, and that is The Prison Healer by Lynette Noni. If you know Selena from The Throne of Glass, they said that if she stayed in the salt mines, this would be her book. It looks like it's a trilogy. The main character looks like she spent the last 10 years fighting for survival in a notorious death prison, working as a prison healer. So I don't know what this is about, but when you compare it to Sarah J. Maas, I'm going to read it. A while ago, I asked for royalty fantasy, and my friend said that this one would be a great one to do if you like princesses and princes and like that like obligation to marry each other, like different kingdoms like marrying each other. And this one sounds amazing. It is called The Traitor's Kiss by Erin Beatty. Oh my gosh, Mary E. Pearson blurbed this, and it says, a thrilling tale with an unforgettable heroine and a love story that left me breathless. Oh my gosh, that's so exciting that she blurbed this. I was looking for the vibes of The Kiss of Deception, and I asked people about where I could get those vibes, and someone mentioned this book. The author of one of my favorite books, Mary E. Pearson, blurbed this. Oh my gosh. And the little top up here says, an obstinate girl who will not be married, a soldier desperate to prove himself, a kingdom on the brink of war. Yeah, and this book feels so good. I don't know what it is about this book, but it is so comfortable to read, and oh my gosh, and look at like, I love the font and like these short chapters. Oh my gosh, these chapters are so short. They're a couple pages. Yes, and the other two books, I don't know if you can tell, but they're just as pretty. There's a pink and a gold one. I almost bought the whole trilogy when I was at Barnes & Noble, but I was like, read the first one, Rachel. Don't do this, because I am a notorious reading the first one and not picking up the second one, even if it's staring at me on my shelf. So I'm going to read the first one. Oh my gosh. I got just so much more excited when I read the blurb. I'm so excited. Oh my gosh. I feel like we're like learning about these books together at the same time, because I'm like reading the back of them. Didn't really plan this out, just wanted to read the back of them. And this one is about a zoo. I am so excited about this. The Beast of Prey. My friend Amanda on Instagram said that she loved this book. It's supposed to be set at an infamous night zoo that is full of magic, and she's a beast keeper, and they have to go on some sort of journey. It looks amazing, and I was so glad that the paperbacks came out, because these paperbacks are stunning. Like, look at that artwork. I didn't even say who this was by. This is by Ayana Gray, and this just looks so good. And it's also like over 500 pages. It's kind of a chunker. I'm so excited about this. Oh my gosh. I'm so excited. Okay, we gotta go up here now. The next section is Cozy Mysteries. And these aren't all traditional Cozy Mysteries, and these are just under the realm of my version of Cozy Mysteries. YA mysteries are cozy for me, and this is The Agathas by Kathleen Glasgow and Liz Lawson. And if you have a title that has Agatha Christie's name in it, yeah. Oh my gosh. And the top part says part Agatha Christie, part Veronica Mars, and completely entertaining. Like, literally say no more. Welcome to Castle Cove, a town cursed with missing girls, bad boyfriends, family secrets, and some very steep cliffs. I don't know what this is about. Oh, and there's like mixed media. There's like text messaging in here. Oh my gosh. It's kind of a thick one. I'm really excited about this. I believe Olivia, I get a lot of my YA mystery recommendations from Olivia. Ooh, that red is so pretty. And I think she mentioned this one and she read it and she liked it. I have no idea what it's about, but the cover is so intriguing. And when Olivia says that she likes something, I'm going to pick it up, especially if it's YA mystery or YA fantasy. I'll pick it up. The Agathas, obviously I love Agatha Christie, and this one is one I have not read yet, and it is The Murder of Roger Ackroyd. I've heard that this one is one of her bests. It's one of her earlier ones. I try to read a couple of Agatha Christie's books every year, and this one is super highly recommended. So I have no idea what it's about. I just know that Roger Ackroyd got murdered. That's all I know. So it's intriguing enough, and I'm ready to pick it up. And the next one is a true cozy mystery. This is Ellie Alexander's Death on Tap. This is the first in a new series set in Washington. I love her settings. I've read a couple books in her Baker series. This is the first in the Sloane Krause mystery, and it's set in Washington, just like her last one was, and it's about a beer brewing company, and I don't know much about it, but my friend Lauren from Lauren Love Reads really liked this one, and I know like the setting's going to be so cozy, so we love a cozy mystery. I have plans to read more cozy mysteries. I just placed an order for a handful of new series, mostly witchy cozy mysteries, and once those come in, I'll probably film that and show you which ones I got. So I do have more like traditional cozy mysteries coming, so I'm really excited about this. Oh, and I have one that's coming up that's a little different, but it is a cozy mystery, so I'll show you that one. And that one is Shady Hollow by Jeannot Black. And this one sounds precious. It's about animals, and it's a cozy mystery surrounding animals, and it's the first book in the Shady Hollow series. Oh my gosh, this is so funny. What is it up with all these blurbs? Oh my gosh. This is blurbed by Sarah Addison Allen, who wrote Garden Spells that I'm really excited about. Oh my gosh. She wrote A Magical Confection, quirky and clever, charming and smart. The first book in the Shady Hollow series, in which we are introduced to the village of Shady Hollow, a place where woodland creatures live together in harmony until a curmudgeonly toad turns up dead and the local reporter has to solve the case. So it's about this fox who is a reporter. It's about animals. It's about woodland animals. I'm so excited for this. And I know my friend Lauren, the Cozy Mystery Queen, loved this, and she keeps telling me to read it. So I'm going to read it. I really am. It says Shady Hollow must be the coziest of cozy crimes stories. It's whimsical woodland murder mystery. I want to live there, surrounded by the enigmatic pandas, diligent mice, and well-read corvids. Oh my gosh. I need to read this right now. And I recently just saw the covers to the sequels, and they look so cute as well. I love this little chalk design. Precious. Precious, precious. Okay, Lauren, I'm going to read this soon. Okay, this one I've had for a while, and I thought I was going to read this like the first of the year, and I never got to it, and I'm so sad. It's The Maid by Nita Prose. I believe this is the editor for Ruth Ware, who's one of my favorite thriller authors. And yeah, I wanted to read this a long time ago, and I just haven't gotten to it yet. I haven't had time to get to this one, but I heard the audiobook is great. I'm just so excited for this. It sounds just cozy, and I've just heard that you fall in love with the main character of this one, and it has me so intrigued, and I feel like this would be just really good to listen to by the fire with a warm cup of coffee. Yeah, so I'm really eager to get to this one too. Oh my gosh, how do people film for so long? I have been sitting here for ages and like not even close to being finished. Oh my goodness. Yeah, we've got a little bit ways to go still. Okay. The next one is the sequel to one of my favorite books, and that is The Man Who Died Twice by Richard Osman. I loved the Thursday Murder Club that I read. Did I read it this year? I might have read it at the beginning of this year, and it is about an elderly group of people who live in this little village, this little retirement village, and they solve murders. And the first one was so lovely. I would describe this series as just lovely. These characters are so heartwarming, and you love the characters in this, and they're just so unique, and you realize that they've had such a full life, and some of them have just had these crazy lives when they're younger, and this one I hear talks more about what happened in their, you know, youth, what they were doing in their youth, and I've just heard this is really, really good. If you love the first one, you're going to love this one even more. The audiobooks for these are incredible. I love a British narrator, and obviously Richard Osman is British, and this has been like one of my most highly anticipated books, and I don't know why I haven't gotten to it, but I'm really, really excited to get to this one because I love the first one so much. All right, so those were all of the cozies that I have in this pile, but I do have more coming. That's just kind of like the cozies that I have on my shelf that I really want to get to right now. The next section is horror, and we're going to run through these really quick because I think my husband and my daughter are getting home from the dentist pretty soon, and so I want to hurry up and get this going. I have two by the same author. Let me grab them. I have two by the same author, and that's Jennifer McMahon, and she writes kind of cozy horror. I would say Jennifer McMahon, it feels like cozy horror. They are scary, but I still get cozy vibes from them. I read The Winter People a long time ago. Sorry if you can hear the airplane above my head. It's very loud. And I've just had these sitting waiting for me to read in October. This one is The Drowning Kind, and this one is her brand new release that came out a few months ago, The Children on the Hill. This one is supposed to be more of like a Frankenstein retelling, or it has Frankenstein vibes. And then this one is set kind of in this water. The sister finds her sister had died in this water, and the water is magical and scary. And Gabby from Gabby Reads really liked this one. And I believe she read this one, and I'm not sure if she liked this one as well. But these are just intriguing to me and the perfect October reads. So definitely going to be getting to these in October for sure. Yeah, next book is a YA horror, and it just seems very whimsical and enchanting and haunting. Small Favors by Erin A. Craig. I read House of Salt and Sorrows for my book club last year, and oh my gosh, look at the end papers. There are the bees. And look at this. How pretty is that? Oh my gosh, that's so beautiful. All I know is this has the vibes of the village. It says, enter not the forest deep. Beyond the bells, the dark fiends keep. Oh my gosh. This exclusive edition includes pages from Erin A. Craig's notebook and features a goldenrod case with black foil. Oh my gosh. I love The Village, and I'm excited to read like a YA version of it. And I really liked House of Salt and Sorrows. It was dark and scary and creepy. Like, it creeped me out for a YA book. And so I'm sure this is gonna, if this has The Village vibes, I'm sure this is gonna be just as creepy, and I'm here for it for Halloween. Next two books are by the same author. I've been waiting to read them for a while. The first one is My Best Friend's Exorcism and The Southern Book Club's Guide to Slaying Vampires. I have read most of this book a couple of years ago, and it scared the crap out of me. This is the kind of horror that freaks me out when it could be real life, but also there is a vampire in it, so it's not real life, but the social commentary in this book made this feel so real. So I had to put it down, but I'm gonna reread it around Halloween. About this group of women who have a book club, and this man shows up, and he's definitely a vampire. Not only is he a vampire, but he's one of the worst creatures to ever exist. But it's kind of like a necessary read. I felt like I learned so much from this, but I didn't finish it because it was getting too much for me. But I'm going to finish it in October. It was really good from what I read, but scared the crap out of me. This one I've heard is good for the summertime, so I actually might get to this one sooner. This looks like a VHS horror book. And he just writes quirky, strange horror. I read Horror Store by him that was set in IKEA, and yeah, this one says this book packs all the magic of a summer horror flick. So yeah, I'll probably read this soon because summer is going to end soon, and then this will be perfect for October. But I'm eager to finish this one finally and read this one because everybody's been loving this one lately. Okay, that's all the horror. Now I'm going to go on to the last category, which is thrillers. I have 5 here, and they're all from authors that I've read from before and really, really loved. So the first one is Julie Clark, and I read The Last Flight by her, and I loved that book. This one, I believe, is like about a con woman. It's like a domestic thriller. Yeah, I don't know. I really don't know much about it, but it's basically about a con woman. The cover on this one is so good. I love the purple and the blue, and I just have a feeling that this is going to be exactly what I need when I want to pick up a fast-paced thriller. I'm sure this is going to fit the bill for sure. Okay, the next book is by Megan Miranda, and it's her newest release. These are all the newest releases by some of my favorite thriller authors, I just realized. And this is The Last to Vanish. I love Megan Miranda. I think if you want an easy thriller that is not too scary, not too intense, but just very, very readable, Megan Miranda is great. I just read Such a Quiet Place last year, and it wasn't like groundbreaking, but it was so fun. And her books are always set in like these little like small towns, and I think this one is set in like a resort town or something. Yeah. A gripping and propulsive thrill about a string of vanishings in a mountain resort town. So yeah, it's set in this small town, and there's a lot of women going missing. I guess there's an exclusive epilogue in this one. From Target. So I always buy my thrillers from Target because they always have like extra stuff. Megan Miranda never disappoints. She's just a fun time to read. So I'm probably going to start the audiobook of this one soon. So the next book is by Lisa Jewell, and Lisa Jewell is probably my favorite mystery author. I consider her a mystery author, not necessarily a thriller. She writes like literary mysteries. I just feel like her characters are so fleshed out and so great. And one of my favorite books by her was The Family Upstairs. And this is a sequel, but you can read it as a standalone if you've never read that first one. This is The Family Remains. And I am obsessed with this cover. Like, it is cool. And if you know, The Family Upstairs is all black. Just didn't expect this to be the cover for this book, but I'm really, really excited. Something about Lisa Jewell, even though you're reading a dark book, you fall in love with her characters. She makes you feel so much for her characters. I just love her writing. So I love British thrillers, and she's the ultimate British thriller author for me. And I would consider them more mysteries than thrillers. I think I've read almost every single one of her books. I think there's like 3 that I need to read, but she has a pretty hefty backlist that I need to get to. But I've read probably like 7 books by her, and she never disappoints me. I loved last year's book. I've loved all of her books. I'm not sure who it's following, but I don't even know how it's going to be a sequel. Like I said, I've heard that it's a standalone. You don't need to read the first book, but guys, if you haven't read Lisa Jewell, you need to go read her. She's so good. She's so, so good. And her audiobooks are top tier. Like, I can't even describe how much I love her. If you love thrillers that are going to make you think and make you feel, you want something that's going to like kind of gut you a little bit. Some of her books are dark and they deal with heavy topics, but I feel like her writing is just cozy and comforting in a way. I highly recommend Lisa Jewell. She's impeccable. Hands down, my favorite mystery author of all time. Friends, we have 2 more books and that's it. I've been recording for an hour, and I hope I can cut this down to like 30 minutes because this is insane how much I'm talking. It's crazy. The next book is by another favorite thriller author, and that is Alice Feeney. Daisy Darker, one of my most anticipated thrillers of the year. Agatha Christie vibes, and then there were none vibes. Alice Feeney wrote Rock, Paper, Scissors last year, and I loved that book. That book blew my mind. Even though the plot twist in that book I've read before, I didn't see it coming, and I got shocked again. And I read a lot of thrillers, and I'm so excited for this one. I feel like her plot twists are fun and like so shocking and like so good. And this is obviously the book of the month copy, and it's set on an island. Apparently, like, this estranged family comes together and they come for the grandma's birthday party or something on this island. And the next day the grandma shows up dead, and then like they all start dying off, and there's just like a lot of secrets. And creepy, like isolated vibes. I am so here for this book. And if it's like rock, paper, scissors, I'm going to be so excited. That's my favorite book by Alice Feeney so far. I've read her other books, but Rock, Paper, Scissors was my favorite book by her. And I'm hoping that this lives up to the feelings that I had. I know my friend Gabby loved this book. We have very similar tastes in thrillers, so I'm really, really excited for this. Oh my gosh, we're on the last book, you guys. This gets compared to In My Dreams, I Hold a Knife by Ashley Winstead, and I loved that book. And this has that same dark academia vibes where, you know, a girl dies and then they come back together to find out who the real killer was like years later. And it's set on a campus. The vibes of it feel very fallish. And Ruth Ware is another British author that I am obsessed with. I like books that are like mysteries. Her and Lisa Jewell do mysteries so well. Like, you're not going to get like this intense, crazy thriller. It's slow moving. If you go into Ruth Ware's books thinking that it's going to be action packed, you're going to be disappointed. Her books, as well as Lisa Jewell's, they're just like a slow moving mystery. And that's why I loved In My Dreams, I Hold a Knife, which is compared to this because it was like that literary, slower mystery. That feels cozy to me. Sign me up for more of that. That's what I want. I know people have been giving this like lower reviews. I know what I'm getting into with this book. I know it's going to be a little bit slower, and I'm okay with that. I like a slow moving book. I know this book is like kind of long, but I cannot wait for the audiobook of this. Sign me up. Like, yes, I'm so excited for all of these thrillers. Oh my gosh. We've made it, friends. Here's my fall TBR, these two shelves I am going to be pulling from as I mood read. I have them obviously different categories, so if I'm in the mood for romance, I'll grab a romance. If I'm in the mood for cozy, I'll grab a cozy. You know, I need a cottagecore vibe book, I need a thriller, whatever I need. I'm just going to pull from these two shelves, and it's going to be a fun fall. I know I have more books coming, and I'll definitely show those because I know there's a couple more releases that I'm really, really excited for. But for the most part, this is what I'm planning to read in fall. I hope that you found something that you're interested in. I know I didn't really talk about what most of these books were about, and I was just kind of gushing about like what the covers were saying, but I don't like to go too much into synopses, so sorry if I didn't say exactly what these books were about, but I go off of vibes. You could definitely tell, like, I read blurbs, I just read taglines so I can get the vibes of books, and all of the vibes feel like the perfect fall for me. I hope you found a book or two that, or maybe 3 or 4, that you are interested in. So let me know if you are gonna grab any of these. If you've already read any of these, please let me know your ratings on any of these books, or just like how you felt about any of these books. That's all I have for this video, but in the next video, I'm gonna do a recommendation for my favorite books to read in fall. So this is my TBR, this is what I wanna read, but I wanna do a recommendations where I show you some of my favorite books that I've read in the past. A lot of them are popular authors and popular books that people hear about, but I just want to give you a list that are perfect for me, that I think that you should read in fall. Stay tuned for that. Thank you for watching. If you've gotten this far, can you just leave the little fall leaves or a little woodland animal creature for Shady Hollow? Because if anybody got to this point, I'm going to be shocked because this was so long, and I love you for being here. I also want to say thank you for the love I've gotten since I started my first video. Like, I just know that this is going to be such a fun thing for me, and I cannot wait to keep making more videos. So thank you so, 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 so much for the support that you have all shown me, and I hope that you found this entertaining a little bit and you got some good book recs, and that you will continue following along. The best time of year is coming up, and I am so excited to make more fall videos for you. I hope you have a beautiful day, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.